right, so let's talk markets today. So there has been interesting shifts in the yield curve, which is oftentimes what a lot of mortgage companies like to use to kind of set their mortgage rates and things of that nature. And that paired with today, the FOMC meeting, the Federal Reserve essentially said that they're going to start cutting in September, right? Now, what we're going to keep an eye on is at this current point in time, it looks like they're going to be cutting at least twice this year. What we want to keep an eye on is it 0.25, is it 0.5? How much are they cutting? And ultimately, my crystal ball is broken. So how many times they actually cut, we'll see, right? Currently, we are seeing more in the markets or specific neighborhoods, right? In New York, it's really neighborhood by neighborhood. So we're seeing that a lot more markets are either shifting to a more balanced or they're edging into that buyer's market, right? Some have been in that buyer's market arena for some time now, and fortunately or unfortunately, depending on who you ask, you still have other markets who are still hot. You might see some like Long Island neighborhoods and things of that nature. Um, so again, still a mixed bag, but generally speaking, we are seeing a shift towards balanced or even buyer's markets. Many sellers are finding themselves dealing with the lock-in effect. So this is where things are kind of interesting in that the amount of inventory that is hitting the market is not really that high, but those that are still there, that the few selections, a lot of these markets are still sitting there longer, right? Or we're seeing less buyers kind of willing to, or able to rather, hit those price points, right? So one of the things here is that a lot of sellers are in a situation where they're sitting at 2, 3, 4% in mortgage rates, and so they feel locked in because if they were to try to buy a same sized home, they're going to be paying 2, 3 times more for the same house, and so that doesn't really make sense in most cases. Right now, more times than not, the people we do see selling are people who have to, right? Death, divorce, downgrade, downsizing, new job, things of that nature, right? So again, the mortgage rates in those respects doesn't really help the situation. And also on the buyer side, many buyers are priced out of the markets. So, some of the things that we're seeing with our buyers is that they're either looking adjacent to their target neighborhoods, so it's close enough, or the rest of them are either choosing to rent or they're just leaving the state entirely, right? Which, especially with everything going on in New York, I can understand some people is thinking, with the cost of living and all this and that, it makes no sense for us to lose sleep. Let's just move to a state where it's more affordable and we can live how we want to live, right? If you look at the transitions, you see a lot of people who are, exodusing into like say Jersey, right? But then you even see people move to the southern states. This is nothing new, right? So if this is new to you, I don't know what to tell you, man, right? Currently, there are still many people who are waiting for a decrease in mortgage rates. And right now, it's interesting because there is debate over what will likely happen in cities like New York. The expectation, according to some experts, is that if the mortgage rates get to say 5.5, maybe low sixes, you may see that more sellers are willing to let go of their 2, 3, 4% mortgage, and be okay with upgrading, downgrading, moving, whatever it is, right? And so in the one respect, we may see more inventory hit the market. On the buyer side, obviously, if mortgage rates drop, you might see more buyers willing to apply for the mortgages, apply for loans, and things of that nature. Now, the issue here, right, is that the prices may quickly surge again, right? And so if you take the COVID case, for example, when mortgage rates hit 3, 4%, yeah, I mean, obviously, too, everyone went crazy, right? But when mortgage rates drop so low, the cost of borrowing is cheaper. So more people are going to try to buy more home, right? We might see something similar to that, and so the price of the home, despite the low interest rate, might put people in a situation where the monthly spend is still going to be unaffordable, right? So it's a weird dynamic, and we'll keep an eye on what happens. I'm inclined to think that's more likely going to happen, where mortgage rates will drop, more sellers may be willing to put their houses up, and the window to lock in the deal might still be tight because of the fact that the prices might quickly jack up. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys apprised. But my concern here is that, very quickly, regardless of the mortgage rates, we're going to be in a situation where a lot of buyers are going to be looking at and unaffordability will, again, right? But, this is New York. I feel like this is nothing new. It is what it is, right? If you were to kind of think this out for 2, 3 years, again, my crystal ball is in the shop. So I mean, I'm kind of interested to see what your thoughts are, what your theses or theories are going to be for the next, say, 3 years. But as I was reading through some of the other market experts and things of that nature, one of the you know thought processes here is that we are going to see some kind of stagnation for the next year or so. Um, and one interesting point that was brought up recently is we will likely see a spike in rental. Well, outside of some kind of government regulation, which is a whole nother can of worms in itself. That's a story for another day. But we might see a spike in rent prices in, say, 2025, 26, because as more of these buyers decide that, hey, you know what, we tried, and turns out we still can't buy a house. And so you might see a lot more people. And I guess the added caveat is if the unemployment spikes, you might be in a situation where a lot of people will just offload their homes regardless. And now we're in a situation where more people need to rent. And so if that happens, we will assume that the rentals, right, especially in New York, there's only so much supply that can come online, and so we're in a situation where, fortunately, the rents will have to go up because supply and demand. So, kind of curious as to what you guys think. If you have any questions, come reach out. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.